We'd like to call the meeting of the Shreveport City Council to order. We ask that if you have your cell phones, if you'd be kind enough to turn them off or put them on silence at this particular time. We're going to ask that Councilman Nicholson would lead us in prayer, and ask that Councilman Butcher would lead us in the pledge.
God, thank you for this day. Thank you for our city. Thank you for the opportunity to once again come together and do the business of the people. Help us always remember how important it is that we discharge to the best of our collective ability the duties that have been imposed upon us, and that we willingly accept it, and help us always to act in the best interest of the city that we all love. Amen.
Amen. If you would face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you be kind enough to call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor. Councilwoman Fuller. Councilman Nicholson.
Present.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson.
Here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilman Bowman.
Thank you. Just for the record, Councilwoman Taylor is out sick, and she wanted me to make that announcement to you all and to her constituents. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the Administrative Conference and Special Meeting Monday, June 13, 2022, and City Council Meeting Tuesday, June 14, 2022?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote. And that passes with 2 out of the chamber. Does any council member have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
At this time, I don't have any, but I would like to wish my condolences, and I think the City of Shreveport's condolences, to Mayor Terry Gardner and his family and our neighbors down the street in Menden for his passing this morning.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Mr. Mayor, do you have any awards, recognition, and distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
I do, Mr. Chairman. Just want to make a quick announcement that city offices will be closed on Monday, July 4th for the Independence Day holiday. The City of Shreveport will host a 4th of July celebration on Monday at the riverfront as well. It will start at 7 p.m. and will end with a fireworks show and a special light show on the Bukowski Bridge of Light. So if you're available, please attend the 4th of July celebration. Next, I would like to congratulate our Finance Department for receiving the Government Finance Officer Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting. So congratulations to our Finance Department.
Thank you.
Next, I have a special presentation. I'd like to call up Major Justin Thompson to the podium. I'm not sure if you all recognize Major Thompson, but he was recently on KTBS featured for one of our Hometown Hero segments. He is a major in the United States Army, the best branch if you ask me. But I'll quickly. I got a CAO here who's disagreeing with me, who's an Air Force veteran. But I've known Justin since we were in high school together. Actually, we ran track together. He was a track star at Southwood High School. We ran summer track together. Both went on to college, both commissioned and became officers in the United States Army. He's clearly had a more successful career than me, continuing it going. So I'm proud of him. But I want to read this proclamation to Justin today. Whereas Major Thompson is the son of Vietnam veteran Sergeant James Thompson and grandson of World War II veteran John Thompson, he is a native of Shreveport, Louisiana, and a graduate of Southwood High School and Northwestern State University. And whereas Major Thompson enlisted in the United States Army in 2006 as a military policeman and was commissioned in the Quartermaster Corps upon graduation from Northwestern State University, he is a veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom. And whereas during his 16 years of ongoing service, Major Thompson has been involved in various community service and outreach projects at every assigned duty station, including work with organizations such as Kappa Alpha Psi, Prince Hall Masons, and ROCKS, mentoring younger officers and youth within the community. Major Thompson has set a positive, lifelong example of dedication and hard work and plans to continue service to the city of Shreveport upon retirement from the U.S. Army. Now, therefore, I, Adrian D. Perkins, Mayor of the City of Shreveport, do proclaim Saturday, June 28, 2022, as Major Justin Thompson Day. Congratulations. Thank you. And not often do we get to see our friends grow up and become prominent figures and serving in the military, so it's such an honor for me to watch Major Thompson and all that he does, but also he sets a phenomenal example for the young people of Shreveport. So at this time, I'd like to give him an opportunity to say, if you got any words for council or any council members who want to address him.
Well, Major, I'll jump in and say thank you so much for your service. Incredibly proud to have somebody with your background and stature come from Shreveport and continue to serve our community. So thank you very much for everything you've done.
Thank you, sir.
Major, I know our honorable mayor kind of read it kind of fast, but you are a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Is that correct? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes,
I did that on purpose.
Okay, well, yo, Noob, I appreciate that. Appreciate your service. Honorable day. That means drinks and food, are you, on your special day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll be meeting you after this meeting.
Thank you, Major.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Major. Thank you for your service, and thanks for being a mentor for our youth in Shreveport. Thank you. And I don't hold it against you that you ran against our mayor over here. And my schoolmate, we didn't go to school together. I was about, what, 2 or 3 years ahead of you. Yeah, but at Captain Shreve. So, okay. Southwood, that's okay. If you said Shreve, I'd have clapped a little louder.
And Chairman, if I could, I do just want to express my congratulations. This is my friend. Also my roommate in college as well. So I know you probably didn't know it, but so congratulations to my friend as well on becoming a major.
That's thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you mind coming down? Yes, sir. We ran a couple races against each other. I was a little bit over. Yeah, I was a little bit over. He whipped up on you. I ain't gonna say who won. This is his day, so I don't want to say who won. Come on. Come on.
Well, you know, I was in the ROTC.
No problem.
No, just to the mayor, to the city council, and then just to everybody attending and to the citizens of Shreveport, I just want to say just thank you for everything that y'all do for me and for setting me up for success. Like, I really, truly owe the city everything, and I love everything about Shreveport, and just once again, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I believe Mr. Michael Corbin spoke to you all yesterday at the administrative session meeting, so he's not here today, but he's my board appointment for the Downtown Development Authority that's on the agenda. We have another board appointment on the agenda today. Is he present? Okay, so our other appointee is not here today, but he'll be here at the next council meeting. That concludes my remarks for today. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, do you have any other communications relative to city business other than awards, recognition, and distinguished guests?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions for Mr. Green for property standards? Mr. Clark gave the master plan committee report yesterday. Is there anyone who did not receive their budget or actual financial report? Public hearing, there are none. Madam Clerk, is there any legislation to be added?
There's none.
Thank you. Today we will hear public comments on agenda items only, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. We have Mr. Sammy Mears.
Sammy Mears, 1901 Cincinnati Boulevard, apartment M110, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I'm speaking on Resolution A996. I hope I can do this without being emotional. I'm really sorry about the passing of Charlie Caldwell. I just had to get this out since I got to know him a little bit. It's very important to get a session very soon called to fill the position of the City Marshal of Shreveport at once and right away. It refers to the unexpired term that remains for other matters as well. If you could get this done, please, as soon as possible, this would really be appreciated, unless there's an interim that I'm not aware of, but this would really be appreciated very much. And I'm sure there's the right person who is out there somewhere. When you find this person and they say yes, don't take no for an answer. And just to make it short, I'll still be taking collections for MDA. If anyone can help me when you get the opportunity, please let me know, and I'm trying to help them the best I can.
Thank you. Mr. Marvin Muhammad.
Sammy, when's your deadline for MDA?
Around the time of August going into September.
So you need it probably, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. John Glover.
John Glover, 9100 Walker Road, apartment 121, Shreveport, 71118. On yesterday, I stood before the members of this council and their audience alike, asking members of this council to not support Resolution 88. Our dollars will be unsecured as taxpayers, and we can't afford that. $10 million is a lot of money to not have any safety nets to the city, to us who make up the city. Two, I also brought to your attention, 2 items, resolutions 91 and 92, conveniently placed under the heading 9A, resolutions on second reading and final passage, or which will require only 1 reading. Didn't understand quite why those 2 items were there, particularly when on the next page, there is a section for introduction of ordinances, which says not to be adopted prior to July 12, 2022. Now, the 2 articles that I referenced, they are on for public hearing. So why would they be situated under 9A at all? Now, I was told that there's something that the administration did, but if the administration did it, they need to undo it, because this is deceiving. Because though you have highlighted they're not to be adopted, that could very well not be the case. Thank you.
Thank you. That ends our public comments. We have the following executive appointments to be considered today. Madam Clerk, so that I won't mess up Mr. Clarence's name, would you pronounce his last name?
I believe it's pronounced Babineau.
Babineau. Thank you. I just want to make sure. We have 2 appointments, one to the A&E Committee, Mr. Clarence Babineau, Downtown Development Authority, Michael Corbin. Is there a motion that we will confirm those 2 together?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher.
Second.
Second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions?
I will say, Mr. Corbin and I, of course, are close, but Mr. Babineau and I served on the 911 board together, and I think he's a great choice. He's a man of stellar character, and I think he'll do great on the A&E committee.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, let's vote. Thank you. That passes with 4. There are no items on the consent agenda for introduction or to be adopted. Madam Clerk, would you please proceed with regular agenda legislation?
Resolution 88 to repeal Amendment Number 1 to Resolution Number 87 of 2021, which added a clause to the contract between the City of Shreveport, Louisiana, and C. Edwards Concept, LLC, requiring a performance bond to be provided by the contractor and to amend other portions of the contract to be consistent with the request for proposal.
At the request of the city attorney, we ask that this would be postponed. I'd like to make a motion for postpone.
Mr. Chair, I'll leave a second.
Motion by the chair, second by Councilman Jackson for postponement at the request of the city attorney. Are there any questions?
Is there a reason for the postponement?
Yes, sir. There's a reason, but it shouldn't be publicized because it shouldn't be publicized. But it's a valid reason.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
point
sir.
order. That motion failed, sir, 2-2.
Yeah, I was about to say it. That motion fails 2-2 at this particular time. Is there another motion on the floor? There has to be a motion to vote it up or down at this time.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes, sir.
This contract has been under discussion for more than a year. I've made very clear my opposition to it and my reasons for that opposition, and I won't subject anyone here or the public to a reprise of those reasons. I'm going to move to adopt. That motion may be seconded, but then I'm going to vote no, and my purpose is to cause this legislation to fail. So with that explanation, I move to adopt.
I'll second.
Has been both motion by Councilman Nicholson, second by Councilman Butcher to adopt. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? All in favor? So that passes with 2.
No, sir, that failed 3-1, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry. It was going to fail anyway, but it failed, yes. Madam Clerk, will you continue?
Resolution 90, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the city of Shreveport and the Louisiana Department of Treasury and the state of Louisiana.
Excuse me, Madam Clerk. What? I was thinking it was 2-2. You said it was 3-3.
There was what? It was 3-1.
3 against 1-4.
Number 4 is up here.
Well, that's 4.
I voted for. I voted no. I voted yes.
Yes, I believe the other members voted no, Mr. Chairman.
Oh. Okay. All right. You may continue.
Resolution 89, authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement with Rho Omega and Friends, Inc.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Bowman. Are there any questions? All in favor? Let's vote. Excuse me.
Resolution 90, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the city of Shreveport and the Louisiana Department of Treasury and the state of Louisiana.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote. Did you get the time? The calendar?
Three, 4, 1 no, 1 abstain.
No, my vote was no.
Okay.
I don't know how. My vote is no. Ma'am?
I haven't done it.
Okay, so what's the,
3-2, passed.
Passes 3-2. Resolution 91, stating the City of Shreveport's approval of Studio Network Shreveport 1 LLC, partial transfer of ownership to 624 Downtown Lofts LLC, and this needs to be postponed due to publication requirements.
Move to postpone.
moved by Councilman Nicholson, second by Councilman Bowman to postpone. Are there any questions? Not, all in favor, let's vote.
Motion carried with 5.
Resolution 92, stating the City of Shreveport's approval of Studio Network Shreveport 1 LLC, partial transfer of ownership to Las Palmas Group Lofts LLC, and this one will also need to be postponed due to publishing requirements.
Move to postpone.
Motion by Councilman Nicholson, second by Councilman Bowman to postpone. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carried with 5.
Resolution 93, employing professionals with respect to the issuance by the City of Shreveport, State Louisiana, of not exceeding $62,500,000 of general obligation refunding bonds in one or more series on a taxable or tax-exempt basis.
Motion by the chair,
I'll second it.
second by Councilman Bowman. Are there any questions?
But, and this is for the, which one is this on?
We're on 93.
I know, but I want to get some, I thought about this yesterday, I want to get some clarity from,
And Chair,
yes,
this is the refunding that we talked about last time. We did the intent resolution to go to the State Bond Commission. This piece of agenda employs the professionals that are going to be submitting that information or to be finding the savings for us to go out to Bond Commission or to find the savings that we are projecting.
you want to speak to that?
Ken A&T, 9335 Ellaby Road, Shreveport, with Cruz and Associates. Yeah, this is a refunding opportunity to refund the 2014 GO bonds. And the way these are structured, they would be a taxable bond, and then in 2024, they would convert to a non-taxable or tax exempt. Right now, the estimated savings, and of course it changes every minute with the market the way it is between 2.5 to 3.1, 3.2 million, just depending on what the rate would be at that time. What you would do, what we're doing here is just the initial process. It's not binding the city to anything. If the market moves away and these numbers don't work, then we would advise the city not to move forward if the savings aren't what we would want them to be. But then we would also have the necessary approval from the Bond Commission to where if the market did dip back down, then we could lock it in and get those savings. So this is not binding the city to anything other than starting the process.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
You need,
That was it, that's what I need to know.
so you're saying $2 million in savings total? Does that include the cost for?
Everything.
For the refi, your fees,
Everything. It's
financial
after-
planner, all that?
It's after all the fees are paid. It's net savings to the city on the refinancing of these bonds. And these are net all expenses. And currently, it's looking more about 2.829, but we want to give you the range between 2.5 million and hopefully the rates go back down, which we don't anticipate, but if they do and you're able to lock it in at the right time, then it could be as much as $3 million.
Okay, so as long as that's a net, as long as that's a net, not a gross,
That's a
I'm
net.
good. Okay.
That's net.
Hold you to
That's
it.
bottom line after all expenses.
Okay.
Any other questions? No
Mr.
questions?
Chairman, I just wanted to add, we did this recently, and when we didn't meet the target that the city thought would be advantageous, we canceled. And so this would be the same process. This is nothing that we hadn't done before.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Dante. Thank you. If not, let's vote.
Motion carried with 5.
Resolution 94 to support the Geographic Information System, GIS Humanities Laboratory at Louisiana State University, Shreveport.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by Councilman Bowman. Are there any questions? Not, let's vote.
Motion carried with 5.
Resolution 95, authorizing the City of Shreveport, Louisiana purchasing agent to reject all bids received for purchase of a new medic unit for Shreveport Fire Department RFP 22809.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher, second by the chair. Are there any questions?
Discussion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Chief Reese. Chief, thank you and congratulations on yesterday. Sorry I wasn't able to make it, but this medic unit you and I kind of discussed, this is the 11th medic unit, is that right?
Correct. This is a brand new medic unit. We have the 11th medic unit in service. We're using one of the reserves right now, but this was to purchase that unit.
Do you feel like we're going to be able to get the bids where you need them? You're going other places?
Yes, I have reached out to several ambulance companies throughout the United States, and I'm also reconvened the ambulance committee. I want to find out what's in their bid or in those specs that may be particular to that ambulance company, and remove a lot of those if it's not necessary due to safety reasons. But throughout several companies throughout the United States making ambulances and only receiving one bid back, I don't think that's a competition at all. So I want to make sure that we have more bids before we accept any.
Well, I'll tell you this, as your first act, you've impressed me because I think that we've been stuck for many years buying from the same vendors in the city of Shreveport. And sometimes I have to take my fire chief hat off, but I would have done the exact same thing. So I appreciate that, and I want to commend you on this. I know it's important for us to get a medic unit, but I also think it's important to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money.
Absolutely.
So, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carried with 5.
Resolution 96, a proclamation resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held to fill the vacancy of the office of City Marshal, City of Shreveport, for the unexpired term thereof, to set the dates therefore and other pertinent matters.
Motion by the chair, second by Councilman Bowman. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carried with 5.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you proceed with introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to July 12, 2022?
Resolution 97, authorizing the use of certain equipment by Sports Spectrum Race Management.
Is there a motion to introduce this resolution? Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilman Nicholson. Madam Clerk, would you proceed with introduction of ordinance not to be adopted prior to July 12, 2022?
Ordinance 90 to amend Section 10-84 of Chapter 10 of the Code of Ordinances relative to physical separation of sales of high alcohol content liquor for consumption off the premises. And then Ordinance 91 to amend Chapter 10, Article 4, Division 2, Section 10-175 of the Code of Ordinances regarding hours of operation for retail dealers of alcohol, non-downtown zoning districts.
Is there a motion to introduce these ordinances?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Butcher. Second by Councilman Nicholson. Madam Clerk, would you proceed with ordinance on second reading and final passage?
Ordinance 81, amending the 2022 budget for the Street Special Revenue Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries with 5.
Ordinance 82, amending the 2022 budget for the Capital Projects Fund.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries with 5.
Ordinance 83, amending the 2022 budget for the General Fund.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Nicholson, second by Councilman Butcher. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
And what does this do?
Councilman Bowman, last year, about $85,000 was removed from the budget of the Caddo Parish Public Defender's Office, which reduced the number of lawyers that it could provide to defendants charged with crimes in city court. Restoring this funding will ensure that the Caddo Parish Public Defender's Office is able to appropriately represent people who have been accused of crimes in that court. And I will say, as we all are, I'm very concerned about crime and making sure that our law enforcement officers are properly resourced and have what they need to keep us safe. It's also critically important for the criminal justice system to ensure that the lawyers who are toiling day after day to represent indigent defendants have the resources they need to do their job well. So that's the purpose of this resolution and ordinance, rather, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Just tell me, how did they lose that?
Councilman, I understand it was by action of the city court judges. This money previously was coming from the city court judges' budget, which we allocate, and the city court judges decided not to make that allocation. I'm not faulting the city court judges because I don't know the details around that decision, but I do think that the funding should be restored, and we have the ability to do that here. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'll add one thing. I'm on a committee myself, and Councilman Jackson are on a committee that the mayor appointed us to. And we've had one meeting thus far, and it's about crime and kind of what we can do in each role. It's a committee that is composed of school board members, city officials, police chief, sheriff, the DA was there. And one of the issues that the DA brought to us in that meeting is funding for the public defender's office. That a lot of these cases are getting bogged down because we don't have enough public defenders to start the case. And so that's why we've got overcrowding in the jails and things like this. I know this is a very minuscule piece, but at least we're stepping up, and there's really not even any other government bodies that are. So I fully support this.
Okay. I'm just stuck on that. Motion passed with 3.
Ordinance 84, amending the 2022 Airport Capital Improvements Fund budget.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bowman,
Second.
second by Councilman Butcher. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries with 5.
Ordinance 85, amending the 2022 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bowman,
Second.
second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries with 5.
Ordinance 86, amending the 2022 general fund budget.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Councilman Bowman,
Second.
second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries with 5.
Ordinance 87, amending the 2022 general fund budget.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bowman,
Second.
second by Councilman Nicholson. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries with 5.
Is that 87? Is that 87? Okay. Ordinance 88, amending the 2022 general fund budget.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bowman, second by the chair. Are there any questions?
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if someone could advise me and the public while we're buying this property, I would appreciate it. My comment and request was that if someone could advise me and the public while we are buying this property, I would appreciate it.
This is a small parcel of land that next to what we already own out at the fairgrounds. And it just seems appropriate that we also acquire this land. Ms. Regal is not in the chamber at the moment. Okay.
This actually is a piece of property that was originally owned by the state, and many, many years ago, there was a building built on it. And in order to clear it up from the state had asked us to purchase it from them so they could get it off their books and get it on ours, since we already have a facility on it. This has been going on for many years, back and forth between the city and the state. And this is just, it's a parcel on the fairgrounds. It's been there for years. One of the buildings sits on it. Just think over years, nobody really realized whose property it was, and this is to get it in the city's name.
Does one of our buildings sit on it?
Mm-hmm. Well, any building out there belongs to us. I think the fair built it many years ago, but it belongs to us at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Did we have this appraised? I don't see it attached.
I'll have to look and see, but the state, it came from the state. The state did all the lead work and sent us the paperwork, so we can get it to you. But that's what it's for.
I just think for less than a quarter of an acre, that's pretty high price, but, okay. I guess if we got a building sitting on it, it makes it more valuable.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Motion carries with 4.
Thank you.
Ordinance 89, providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds, Series 2022 of the City of Shreveport, State of Louisiana, prescribing the form of, fixing the details, and providing for the rights of the owners thereof, providing for the application of the proceeds thereof to the project as defined herein, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. And the bond council has asked that this be postponed today.
What is the reason for the postponement?
I believe they're still waiting on finalized numbers. Is that correct, Casey?
Yes, we're actually going to be selling these bonds on tomorrow, so we will be bringing back an agenda with the cost of what the bonds were sold at.
Motion to postpone.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Nicholson, second by Councilman Bowman to postpone. Are there any questions? If not, let's vote.
It's just postponed to the next meeting? The next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries with 5.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there any table legislation to be removed from the table today?
None that I'm aware of, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have no property standards or ABO appeals to consider today. We have no MPC or ZBA appeals to consider. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
There are no appeals.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, or committees? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk's report?
I have none.
Mr. Mayor, do you have anything additional communication?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Does any council member have any additional communications? We have no executive session. Is there anything else to come before this meeting? If not, adjourn.